have here members of the media from the local press, international correspondents, as well as members of the press from across the continent. We will also be taking questions from members of the press not located here who have sent in their questions. With your permission, we will go straight to questions. I remind members of the press, when you're asking a question, please introduce yourself as well as your media house and keep it to one question. The first question will go to Kagame.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Jean-Pierre Kagabo nkorera RBA. Nyakubahwa Perezida, hirya no hino atari mu Rwanda gusa haravuga ikibazo kizamuka ry'ibiciro byatewe n'ibibazo isi yanyuzemo. Hari ingamba u Rwanda rwagiye rufata, ariko ikibazo nabazaga ni ubuhe buryo bwihariye bugiye gukorwa kugira ngo iki kibazo kidahungabanya iterambere ry'imibereho myiza mwifuriza abaturage. Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika.
Nk'uko wari umaze no kubivuga, ikibazo aho gituruka cyane cyane ku izamuka ry'ibiciro ku isoko n'ahandi, yaturuka ku bintu bimwe bitandukanye bituruka hanze y'igihugu kubera ibiriho biba ku isi, haba kure haba hafi, bigira ingaruka hirya no hino, bitugiraho ingaruka natwe. Ariko ngira ngo umuntu yavuga ko igihugu cyacu ubundi bijyanye n'ubukungu muri rusange, imibereho ishingiye kuri byo, yasaga naho byari bimaze kumenyera yagendaga neza. Icyo dukora rero ni uguhera ku uko ibintu byagendaga neza, noneho tugashaka uburyo ibyo bimwe bitari mu maboko yacu twahangana nabyo. Ikipe irebana n'iby'ubukungu muri rusange igihugu cyacu yagiye ishyiraho uburyo, ari ugushyiraho uburyo bw'imfashanyo bishobora gufasha mu kugabanya ibyo biciro, ariko biturutse mu bundi buryo bwakozwe, tuvuye kugira ngo nk'ibiciro bya peteroli uko bimeze ubundi bitewe n'izamuka ry'ibiciro byakabaye bikomeza bizamuka bijya hejuru, ariko icyo gihe leta ifite uburyo yabyize neza, ishyiramo amafaranga kugira ngo cya kinyuranyo uko igiciro cyari kimeze n'uko cyazamutse bitewe n'ibyo bibazo twavugaga, gishobore kutabaho bitewe n'icyo leta yashyize muri sisitemu ubwayo. Urebye rero nka subsidies zigenda zikorwa ziba zigamije kugira ngo byunganire igihugu, byunganire abaturage kuri ibyo byo gutuma ibiciro bitakomeza kuzamuka. N'ubundi buryo rero na Central Bank ubwayo, banki nkuru y'igihugu nayo ifite uko ikora imibare yayo ku kiguzi cy'amafaranga, niba ariko nabyita, bifite nabyo uko byigwa bigakorwa kugira ngo ibiciro bidakomeza kuzamuka, ndetse bishobora no kongera kumanuka. Nanone bitwara igihe, ntabwo bibaho uyu munsi umwe gusa uko byakozwe, ndibwira rero ko ibintu biza gusubira mu buryo ariko bitwara igihe.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Zimbabwe.
Afternoon, Excellency. My name is Love Momataile. I'm from Zimbabwe, Harare. I'm the group political editor for Zim Papers. First, thank you so much for inviting me to the Umshikrano. It was my first time to be here, and I was quite impressed with what I witnessed there. However, I'm quite disturbed that while most of the African media took the event as a very important event, there was some kind of a downplay from the Western media in how it took the initiative. Can you comment on that, why the Western media continues to downplay homegrown initiatives that are meant to bring citizens together? Thank you.
Well, thank you, but that has a history, it has a context, it is something that has not happened overnight, that different countries, including Rwanda, get some narratives are formed about us, but to depict situations as bad forever and even worse with the time. Sometimes it is deliberate. Again, I said it has a context, has a history, why the West is supposed to determine everything according to them. That happens in Africa. They are supposed to decide for people how they should be defined, what they should be doing, how they should not, or what they should not be doing. There is this, I don't know, maybe prejudice. I don't understand the rationale of it. I cannot understand why people do it. It's a tool of control. It's a tool of to avoid, people encroaching on your status. The West is up there, according to them. Nobody should be there approaching that position. They should stay where they want people to be, so that they can easily always control the people, the resources, and determine. You have heard so much about global order. So global order is really about that. The global order is defined by and people, and among other things, that is one of them, of shaping the global order. Global order has people who create that and who therefore must maintain that global order. But with time and with certain realities, people challenge that notion that some parts of the world must control the whole world without a question. Other big powers challenge that in a big way. Small ones also have their way of challenging that, especially departing from trying to define ourselves, not so much being defined by others. So with the Mushichirano, we do it not to impress anyone, first of all. Like other initiatives, we have done that, we've thought about doing that because we think it will improve us, whether politically, economically, socially. It's something that improves society as far as we are concerned. I mean, people having these political innovations and allowing ideas to float or to be challenged, but ultimately coming out with something that works for people shouldn't be a bad thing in any way, in my view. It helps make you who you want to be, or improving who you are, instead of going the route of following the dictates of other people. We would rather follow where your heart and mind should be taking you. This is something we've lived, we know it, we know what challenges are in even dealing with that. It constitutes a lot of challenges inevitably, but you stay the course. You stay the course and you do what you think is important, is good for you. And then you keep fighting these battles to put you off course. So that Mushichirano you are talking about, and as you saw, the people there, the young, the old, from different walks of life, people with different backgrounds, I think really constitutes a very significant sample of representation of our society. And why not? Why don't we sit down and talk about what we need to do that can improve us? So that's what we do, irrespective of whoever doesn't like it or likes it. We can live with those even when they don't like it.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Congo.
Chanel Mourangon, Télé Congo, Congo Brazzaville.
Just a moment, maybe I need to use the translation. Go ahead.
Alors, merci de nous avoir accueillis ici au Rwanda. Merci pour l'invitation et on a aimé vraiment être dans ce beau pays. Ma première question concerne la visite du président Macron en Afrique, qui a entamé une visite où il va séjourner à Brazzaville, Luanda et Kinshasa, sûrement avec le président Sassou, avec le président Tshisekedi, le président Lorenzo. Ils vont aborder la question sur la crise entre le Rwanda et la RDC. Alors, qu'en est-il du dialogue? Où en sommes-nous sur les pourparlers entre le Rwanda et la RDC? Ça, c'est ma première préoccupation. La deuxième, c'est sur la coopération entre le Congo et le Rwanda. Comment se porte cette coopération? Est-ce que vous envisagez d'aller un peu plus loin que ce que les commissions mixtes ont déjà arrêté comme accord? Merci.
Right. First of all, I think the President of France, President Macron, who will be in the region, is one of a number of countries and people who have been trying to help in resolving this problem in our region. People talk about Eastern Congo. Eastern Congo is not a country on its own. It's actually Congo. I think there's nothing like, in my view, there's nothing like Eastern Congo problem. Maybe you want to be specific in a narrow sense about where, but it is actually Congo's problem. It's also a regional problem, meaning it affects even neighbors. I can't say how we are affected. Let's say if we are referring to Rwanda, you wouldn't say Northern Rwanda problem, because Northern Rwanda is neighboring with the Eastern Congo, and the spillovers of problems mainly come to the north of our country. That doesn't make it a Northern Rwanda problem. No, it makes Rwanda's problem. So I want us to understand that Eastern Congo problem is Congo's problem. It should stop being Eastern Congo problem, Eastern Congo problem. No, it's the Congo's problem. That's one. Number two, again, this problem has a very long history in terms of the cause of that. But it also has a long history of how it has been mismanaged from the beginning. That's why it is there for the last 20-something years. And if you look at the attention that has been paid to this so-called Eastern Congo problem, it's so much so that one would think we should have got a solution to this problem. So it's been there for long. It has been mismanaged for very long. And I think it has a relationship also with the first thing I corrected, that it can't just keep being seen as Eastern Congo problem. It's a Congo problem, only based, this particular one, based in Eastern Congo. So your important question, I'm not sure. People have discussed this problem in all kinds of settings. The AU summit, we discussed it. We discussed it in Kenya. We discussed it in Angola. We have discussed it around the General Assembly in New York. We have discussed it almost everywhere, and people, there are other well-wishers there who want to help in this problem. The other day we were supposed to go and meet in Qatar over the same problem. That didn't happen, but maybe it is going to happen in the near future. So everywhere we are talking about this problem. So the importance of your question therefore lies in this fact that how can any problem, but particularly this one, continue to be discussed, just discussed, and keep people taking. We have communiques, we have all kinds of statements, but that's why it has stayed for all these years. Then on top of that, we remember the background. We have under global peacekeeping, we have had thousands, tens of thousands of troops called peacekeepers in Congo for this time. They are supposed to keep something, to resolve something, keep peace, resolve the underlying issues for the lack of peace. Again, we are there for these years of meaning decades. Still we see no problem, no solution. So surely if anyone stepped back a little bit and wanted to make sense of what is happening, somebody should realize that something is terribly wrong. And we might be addressing the wrong problem, or we are providing the wrong solution to the problem we know. Otherwise, there is no other explanation how things can continue like this forever. Now, people who want shortcuts, but even then, shortcut is supposed to reduce the time you address something. But people who want shortcuts blame it all on Rwanda. This is now the easiest, but even then, I have not found how it becomes a shortcut, because we are still there with the problem. Maybe if we had blamed Rwanda, as even if wrongly, and got a solution, okay, we can live with that. We can say, okay, Rwanda was blamed for a problem that is not theirs, and they incurred so much in terms of cost and this and that. But at least we found a solution. So, but now it has only turned out to be an additional problem, for which you're not going to find a solution. As if the first problem is not bad enough, we add another problem, which is blaming it all on the wrong party altogether. So, is it just a matter of meetings that even if it were for that, we have not had a few meetings? Is it we've run short of people to blame? I don't think that is even giving us a solution. So I think people need to come back to our senses and see how, because I try to summarize what I think is the origin of why we keep going back and forth and not finding. I should say it originates with the history between our two countries, Rwanda and DRC. We shared the colonial history because we were all governed by Belgians at that time, DRC, Rwanda, and Burundi. Then whatever happened, in fact, we find, like it has happened in many other countries. I've been raising this question, if there is any country in Africa that does not have people on one side of the border similar or related to people on the other side of the border of the country that are neighboring each other. I don't think there is any. So this famous, I mean, I'm sure here, by the time we are done with this press conference, the story will be M23 has become something like a scarecrow. It's supposed to dramatize the story or, you know, scare people that we have something terrible here, and that's what is. So I'm sure that's what is going to happen from here. M23 is the beginning and the end of the problem. But that's not true. The so-called M23 is a product of a lot of things, mismanaged, mishandled, starting even in those days. I talked of colonial times, how these people associated with Rwanda happened to be in Congo. If, to be honest, I probably wasn't around when it happened. That was way before I was born. So how can I be responsible for the problem? How can I be the cause of the problem? Then, of course, for all of you, I'm sure you were born yesterday. I'm sure there is even a part of the story you don't know, you've never come across. So that is one. How can Rwanda be blamed for the refugees we have here, who have been here for 20 years, over from Congo, associated with the people in M23? M23 problem which started in 2012, and where they used some military force to try and resolve the problem. The M23 people, some fled to Uganda and neighboring Congo as well. Others fled here. We have them here in the camps. So when that was done and finished, there had been agreements of the next steps to resolve that problem from 2012. These agreements were all reneged on until recently, when this fighting flared up, started again of the same groups. And but in Congo, in Eastern Congo, there are over 120 armed groups, of which M23 is only one of them, right? So the 120 armed groups, how were they formed? Certainly, actually, I haven't even heard even those who hate Rwanda, who tell a lot of lies about Rwanda, have not accused Rwanda of having formed those 100 and plus armed groups. So at least even those who would wish us everything negative have not accused us of that. They're only accusing us of association with M23. So who formed the other 100 over armed groups, and why? Who explains that? Why don't they talk about that or take care of that? So I would suggest to people that they simply need to look at what needs to be looked at. The root causes of what we are having to deal with. The root causes are clear. I've told you in that history. even agreements were reached of how to resolve that from 2012. How could they not have been implemented, those agreements? It can't be because of Rwanda. Even if I bring you to the recent events, this fighting that is started a couple of years ago was not started by Rwanda by any means or by anybody. Try to look at, just follow the history of how this recent fighting started. It had no involvement of Rwanda at all. Only that maybe the ones who started it or who wanted it to be there designed it in such a way that they would then blame it on Rwanda. And it's simple how to do that. You just have to distort the history. Because they are saying, no, these are people from Rwanda. These are Rwandans, meaning the M23 and the people we have here as refugees who have been here for over 20 years are all called Rwandans. So they are from Rwanda. So it's like they are sending them back to where they came from the beginning. This is really the story. The story is all of these Rwandans in Congo, it doesn't matter how they went there, they should go back to Rwanda. But what is even more interesting is that while you are sending away these Rwandans and saying they should go to Rwanda, back to Rwanda, it doesn't matter how they got here, these same people are retaining other Rwandans who are FDLR. You have heard of that? So FDLR is actually welcome in the Eastern Congo. But the rest should go back to Rwanda. So that again tells the story. But the way they retain FDLR, the reason they do that is because they think they can build around it for so long. They have been trying to do that. A force that would come and destabilize Rwanda, and I think the president of Congo at one point, it must have escaped from his thoughts. Remember when he said he's going to bring regime change in Rwanda. Of course, I didn't take that seriously. I thought it was a joke. He must have been joking, and he's allowed to make those jokes. It's okay. But it's also something that may be in the minds of some people, they wish for that. But that's a different subject. So, what is simple? Why don't we even look at those old agreements? There are many, by the way, whether they were reached by the former government under President Kabila and others that were reached by the current administration about how to resolve this matter with these same people they are having a problem with. Even if we just started with that alone. And that could be helpful. So the root cause, if there are people here. First of all, if there are people they think are not Rwanda, are not Congolese, they are pretending, okay, those we can identify and put them aside. But how about those they will identify as actual Congolese? What is the reason for not accepting them as they should accept other Congolese? So the whole story now turns into, oh, this is an invasion from Rwanda, they want a piece of Congo. No, but before you come to that, maybe you need to answer these questions I was raising. Why Of course, we are very conscious of the fact that Rwanda geographically is really small. That's a fact. How it came to that, I'm not even going to talk about it. That Rwanda was dismembered and cut to pieces and left people. I'm not talking about that. I don't need to talk about that. It's not in my mind. But we are where we are. We've been where we are for so long. It's not today that we are thinking of encroaching on somebody else's territory to increase our size and so on. I mean, unless somebody really is just insulting us and thinks we are that foolish in this day and age to be investing in things that are so costly to us that we would be looking for that. I don't think so. This is just diversionary. What is clear is, let's go to the real problem. Let's go to why is this fighting? How did it start? Who started it? Why? Who are these people who are fighting? What do they want? Whether it is M23 or the other groups I told you that are up to or over 120 groups, armed groups. So the mismanagement, the bad governance, cannot just be explained away. You need, and also the rights of people. The rights of people need to be given to them. Always, it's whether it is Eastern Congo or here or anywhere, the moment you think or you have a policy of denying people their rights and persecuting them, you know that when people have nothing to lose, they will fight you. You can blame the ones who you imagine is helping them, you can do whatever you want, but I think history has shown us many things that when you tamper with people's rights for so long and think you are so powerful or have right to do that, the moment it turns on you, it might be too late for you. And then the other stories, you can see they are really looking for all kinds of excuses to run away from the real problem or root causes of that problem. Then the next time it is about minerals. Oh, Rwanda is poor, has no minerals. They are invading our country, they are fighting, supporting M23. They want to steal our minerals. Well, those minerals have been there for so long. I only wonder why they don't even benefit the Congolese, actually. Why? How about the Congolese who are not in Eastern Congo, but are so far away from there? Do they really benefit from these minerals? So now you have somebody to accuse for invading your country looking for minerals. Do you know that we have some minerals here? They may be fewer than you find in Congo, but we have some minerals. In fact, the coltan which they talk about, we have a lot of coltan, and it is of a much higher quality than you would find coltan anywhere, including Congo. Try and do some research about it, people will tell you the story. It goes up to about 40, even up to 60%, where in Congo it's about 20, 30% for the content of coltan. Ask, investigate, you know the truth. So then gold, we have gold, you know, in the old days when we were fighting war here, somewhere in the northern part, Chumbi, we used it to pick gold, alluvial gold from, there's a place, is it Chivuye or something? We use, Miove. It is Miove. We used to pick gold. People would be in ambush waiting for the enemy, and they find gold, and they and it's I'm not dramatizing anything. So we actually have gold, which is even on the surface in the Miove, sorry. So I mean, these are all just useless stories to divert people away from the real problem. Then you can turn around and ask MONUSC that has been there for forever. Actually, some of you have been born after it was deployed there, I'm sure, in this group. Yeah, it's true. So they've been there. So what have they been doing, by the way? Why didn't they solve this problem? Why? Only to wait, to turn around and blame it all on Rwanda and say Rwanda has done this. But for a fact, we have said this. This FDLR problem that is in Congo, which everybody has played down and said this and all this, yet there are things to show that they are there. They've been armed, rearmed, and given everything, have had an effect. In 2019, November, a group of FDLR crossed our border in a place called Kinigi, killed the people until our military had to intervene and get rid of them. These were FDLR, and they had arms from government or by some groups working on behalf of government. In 2019, again, you can ask, in November, this happened. After that, in the recent days, when this fighting was beginning to take shape between M23 and the government and these other armed groups, FDLR, having been rearmed again, integrated with FARDC, with full knowledge and authority of government and government institutions, whether it was the commanders of FARDC or governors of the provinces or everybody, they knew about it. They attacked again the northern part. They were bombing our territory from Eastern Congo into Rwanda. Again, there is no confusion about this information. It is available to everybody. There are victims. There are things like that. We have communicated directly with the government of Congo. I did communicate directly with the president of Congo on these issues when they were happening. And so this has resulted into, we have had to deploy, we have massively, we have even increased deployment along our border. And what we are supposed to do and will do whenever it will be necessary is to make sure nobody crosses again our border to attack our people or uses any territory near us to share Rwanda again without consequences. So this is not a secret. We have said it publicly. So when you turn that into a problem, oh, you know, Rwanda is helping M23, they are in Congo, they are, okay, but you must answer another question. Why would they be doing that? Why would Rwanda be doing that? Why would Rwanda want to go into Congo? Why would Rwanda support M23? Why? If you get those answers, you should also ask yourself, what is FDLR doing in Congo, armed and working with government of Congo? Why? Why are they there? What are they to do? The third issue is, what should Rwanda do? Have FDLR armed once in a while, crossing the border, killing our people, and we should just keep quiet? This is another question that must be answered. The other question is, what has been the presence of MONUSCO and other groups that have gone into Congo to help Congo to pacify this region? What have they been doing all these years? What have they been doing? Associated with FDLR? Or maybe part of the rearming FDLR? Somebody must answer that question. Finally, I want to say this. Just end on what I asked from the beginning. Why would Rwanda, of all countries, want to be part of or the cause of instability in the neighborhood? Why? What would we gain from that? What can anyone gain from having stability next door? If anything, everybody should know we are the people most interested in peace in this region. Because we have lacked peace for so long, we know what it means. We know the cost of it. And why would we be building our country the way you can see with your own eyes, and then have instability to come and destroy it? What kind of people would Rwandans be? So these are, but I think this is a simple matter to resolve honestly. If we only address the root causes and stop just talking. The root cause is simple. Even work with the neighbors, because the neighbors have wanted to help or to work with Congo to resolve these matters that affect them, but also that affect us. But Congo has been hesitant. They don't want this matter resolved. Otherwise, if they had wanted that to be resolved, then they would have welcomed the people who want to work with them to resolve this matter. But they only welcome those who are not actually helping them to resolve the matter. They welcome MONUSCO, but yes, MONUSCO does not help to resolve the matter. So the ones who would have helped, because they also have vested interests, meaning neighbors, they are not welcome to do that. They only turned into enemies. And then there is a lot of politics being played. They always say, oh, the country has been invaded. Congo. People invade Congo for what? To do what? But Congo is harboring, is home to groups that are armed, that even some of them being armed by Congo to destabilize neighbors. And the case, our own case, is a good example. And then the rest, the media, the human rights, the humanitarian, the UN groups, the different countries, they're just making a noise, oh, M23, M23, for a problem that has those dimensions I've been explaining to you. People are just making a joke of everything, and of lives of people, millions of lives of people. So why are these refugees we are having in Rwanda there for over 20 years? Why don't they find a home? The first threat against their lives is their own government, is their own neighbors or people who they are supposed to be living side by side. So I've taken long because to explain your point, I thought to. Because people treat this matter as something they just they hope one day they can wish away, or they can use it to wish away other facts and factors around this problem. No, you cannot solve a problem by just wanting to wish it away. That's what has happened, and that's why we are with it for over 2 decades. It's as simple as that. So can we, people, human beings, whether the actors really in the field or those who want to help, and then all of you, the media, can you even find a way you can be helpful also? Instead of just singing some nonsense. All right? I hope, sorry for giving you more than you asked for, but...
Thank you, sir. There's a second question, sir, that he would like you to answer about the relationship between the Republic of Congo and Rwanda.
Sorry?
The second question here asked about the bilateral relationship between the Republic of Congo and Rwanda.
It has been affected by this. Inevitably, it can't be good when we are having this...
Sorry, the Republic of...
Huh?
The Republic of Congo.
Which Congo? A relationship. Why does the relationship come into this? Anyway, we have a very good relationship with with the Congo. When you talked about Congo, I thought it is the usual thing that... but for the Congo, the Republic of Congo, we have a very good relationship. There are no issues. We've been having bilateral agreements, we have MOUs, some of things, the memorandums of understanding, some of the things are being implemented already. Everything is good.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Kagire.
So actually I was answering about Eastern Congo when they asked me about...
No, sir, he asked about Eastern Congo and then...
He did ask about that?
Yes, he's from Republic of Congo.
Okay.
Thank you, Excellency. My name is Edmund Kagire. I work for Kigali Today. I'm sorry for taking you back to the usual thing. Your Excellency, in whose interests is it to hold Rwanda responsible for the problems of Congo? And what about the claim that FDLR is a defunct group? Some people say it is done, it is finished. It is used as an excuse for Rwanda's interest in DRC. And why are those supporting FDLR not held accountable by the international community? Thank you.
Well, those who are saying that FDLR is just an excuse, and I think the burden of proof is on them, not me. For me, I have proved, I have said they are there. And I have given example of how they have attacked Chiniji. You know that story. So I'm not creating it, you know it. I'm talking about, and there are names known of commanders, of people who actually were here and committed genocide. A number of them. The names are known by the UN. We have given these names. The commanders are in the field. So For me, I have given what I know. Those who are saying that's not true, it's up to them to now give the proof. For me, I have given the proof of what I'm saying. Those should give their own proof of what they are saying. I cannot be put to task to give proof of what they are saying. That is not true. So it doesn't make sense. Why? Again, they would be, for failure to resolve their problems, the excuse is somebody else. It's common. You can blame somebody else for your problems when you are even the cause or should be addressing them yourself. Then you want to attribute the cause of the problem to somebody else. You are running away from your own problems. I can't, again, be responsible for that. They are human beings. We are in different ways. Some of them are like that. And then who? I mean, you see it. It's always in the papers. People. And why FDR would be preserved? And because, for example, they say they blame Rwanda for helping M23, according to them. If anyone wanted to be fair, having associated me with M23, it doesn't matter whether how wrong you are or how right you are. Keeping quiet about those who are helping FDR and arming them and causing the damage and even killing. By the way, we are, in these last weeks and months, this fighting has been going there. You are aware, almost every day we are having refugees crossing the border, running away from Congo because they are being persecuted, they are being uprooted from their homes. We have them, adding to the 70,000 plus others who have had here for over 20 years. So the facts are there to see, to explain what we are debating, but somebody decides not to see that. So if there are some people pretend, like you said, either it is not there, or if it is there, let's. I think some people are interested in perpetuating that problem. It has a long history, again, as I said. Some people have a problem, one, accepting their own responsibility in this tragic history Rwanda has gone through, or the region has gone through. So the victims are the perpetrators. It's a simple way of running away from the problem. The victims, you blame the victims. Then the perpetrators will be free. Otherwise, and it is surprising, some of those people are people who have been associated with that ugly history of ours, but because of who they are, because they think, if you have power and you misuse it and think because you are a power, then you can use it any way you want to your advantage. That is a problem. I think that this is happening here. The very people who know the history very well and have even been part of it are the ones perpetuating that kind of story and using the means they have, the media, the international organizations, so it's really running away from a problem they've been a part of, and then blaming the victim, turning things around. Didn't you see in some way, you see the story at the UN, when people are talking about the history of Rwanda and what happened and so on, and actually the whole UN rallied around that because they understood it, they know it, it's a fact. Some people found it difficult to identify, to say who were the victims in the tragic history of Rwanda. They can't correct themselves to say it by name or by word. Why do you think that? Where do you think that? You think these one or two individuals among hundreds sitting representing countries of the globe in the UN are the ones who were right and the rest were wrong? I mean, it explains itself. If somebody can't just, and somebody has been so closely associated with this problem, but can't find the courage to even say, no, sure, this. And he said, no, these are not the ones who were targeted. Everybody was targeted. That's true. Everybody was targeted in one form or another, but we are talking about a specific thing. And if you have a problem with that, then it tells the story of what you are to many problems in this world.
Thank you, sir. We'll take one question from Malcolm Webb in Nairobi, working for Al Jazeera, before we go on break and come back for more questions.
You should do, before we go, you should ask this lady who...
Allez-y, madame.
Yes. Okay. So the one you had given, and then in addition. So I will have two instead of one. Go ahead, go ahead.
Bonsoir à tout le monde. Je m'appelle Monique Naoussi. Je viens du Cameroun. Je suis journaliste à la chaîne de télévision Canal 2 International. Excellence, je voudrais avant tout rendre hommage au leadership que vous incarnez et qui rend fier le peuple africain. Ma question sera en droite ligne avec l'actualité brûlante dans mon pays. Il y a quelques jours, une commission mémorielle a été mise sur pied pour éclairer le rôle qu'a joué la France dans les assassinats des nationalistes camerounais et la guerre pré-indépendance. Le débat qui a cours en ce moment dans mon pays porte sur le choix qu'a fait le président français sur celui qui doit conduire les travaux. Excellence, j'aimerais que vous partagiez avec les 30 millions de Camerounais votre expérience sur le même sujet. Je parle davantage de la période post-génocide. Le process de la commission mémorielle. Comment vous avez procédé? Quel est le profil des acteurs qui ont été déployés pour éclairer l'histoire, davantage le rôle de la France dans cette histoire innommable, inqualifiable qu'a connu votre cher pays, et l'état actuel des relations entre le Rwanda et la France? Ça, c'est la première question. La deuxième question porte sur le leadership des présidents africains pour tirer leur peuple du sous-développement. Quel doit être, selon vous, leur mindset? Je vous ai écouté lors du dialogue national au Moshikirano. Vous demandiez de travailler davantage pour être davantage traités comme des humains. Quel devrait être le profil, le comportement, le mindset des dirigeants africains pour que l'Afrique ne soit plus où elle est et que les dirigeants africains puissent discuter d'égal à égal en toute respectabilité avec les autres leaders du monde. Je vous remercie.
Yeah. First of all, it's important that people, any people, anywhere, faced with a problem, need to, before they go anywhere, to blame anybody else who might be responsible for, they first need to be convince themselves that they have a problem to deal with, it's theirs, they need to deal with it the best way they can, and that actually they have it within themselves to be able to confront any challenge, even if not in its entirety, but a big part of it they can confront and overcome. That's the starting point. So whether it is Cameroon or Rwanda or any other African country or any country anywhere. So then the next step is, how do you go about it? Even allowing others to contribute, including even those who want to mess it up, but then those you have to be prepared to confront them, because in that confrontation, the truth comes out as well, and you deal with it. So you have to have the courage, you have to have the consciousness that this is your problem. Whether you get people supporting you in it or not, you go to confront it, and you proceed like that. So with what you said you are going through with France and this and that, which we went through ourselves, but over time we made a breakthrough, and we even those we were confronting and challenging each other and more or less fighting, over time we find we reach a certain compromise that can allow us space to move forward together. That's our case, how we have done it. I'm not saying that everyone who has similar problems has to deal with it the way we had dealt with our own situation. But there are always lessons to learn from each other. There are a few things you can learn from different situations and apply them and add your own feelings and actions towards moving forward. So for the 30 million Cameroonians, there has to be a way of soul searching from within, confront realities as they are. Don't shy away from that. Some of it is costly. Even when you are right, when you stand up and speak at the top of your voice and you are really saying the right things, sometimes it comes with a cost. You may pay for it, but you should be prepared to pay for it. You must make, it's like doing anything, even the simpler things like doing a business. There are risks you factor in what you are going to do. So this one has even much higher, much bigger risks that you must be prepared to do. So, yeah, I'm saying most of this theoretically, but that's what leads to the practice as well. You must understand that from the theoretical standpoint, and then you make choice how you proceed with your journey. So I can't say much about that. We have had our own situation. We can tell people, anyone who wants our situation, how we have overcome it, what we confronted, challenges, people, countries, even powerful countries. We have not always said yes to everything they demand about us. There are certain things we are able to tell anyone, I mean anyone in this world that, well, this is our problem. We are going to deal with it the way we think is right to deal with it, not the way you want me to deal with it. There are those moments. It's not every time. And many times we have done that. We are aware of the consequences. We are aware of the risks. But because of our belief in what is right that we must do for ourselves, we are able to confront what comes with the likely consequences or whatever is related with that. So maybe you, in your country or any other country, it's no different from what you've gone through. You've got to organize, you've got to think properly, you've got to stay the course, you know, tactically or strategically is when you go back and forth, but you stay the course with the thinking of what you want to do. So with the leaders, again, it's the same story. The leaders on our continent. The profile of the actors of... Yeah. Yeah, explain. Sure, I think I understood the explain to me properly. Yeah. Ah, oh, okay. By the way, it was multifaceted. Selected by. There are two reports, in actual fact, to do with our situation with France. There are French scholars and others like that who we did not select ourselves. They were mainly selected by France. But had they selected somebody of a profile that we know wasn't going to be useful, we could have easily objected. We could have told France, we said, no, if you are looking to have something of meaning that will have good results, you can't put this person. And therefore, from the beginning, we tell them, no, it will be meaningless. We won't go along. You can go write whatever you want. That will be yours, and it has no consequence to us or to our relationship. But because they also selected people who we thought, according to their profile and what we knew about them, there was no problem, we went along. But we had also established our own process. We chose some international, some renowned people. They were not necessarily Rwandans, but a group that was working with some Rwandans. In fact, it is a renowned American law firm or law meaning the law entities that we agreed they would represent us. And they did a very, very decent job. In fact, from their work and from the work of the process that was carried out in France, there was a lot of convergence, which proved the work done on both sides was very good. There was huge convergence. There were some disagreements or things that, but they didn't take the precedent. Those could be absorbed in the big picture of what was actually agreed. So the profile, therefore, is of people whom and it is easy to vet these people, you know their history, and it is not just one person who is going to. So if you have a number of people as a team going to work together and they have different backgrounds you approve, then you are likely to have some good outcome. They can't all conspire and agree to distort the facts of history. Somebody can have influence in pushing things in the wrong direction, but it will be limited. So that is really the profile, how you choose people for who they are, their capacity, what they are known for. It's easy to establish. So, but for the leaders, again, if I go to the leaders question, I mean, we are just all human beings. We do things the way we do them, and sometimes if we have weaknesses here or there or strength, sometimes we can't explain. It's the nature of things. And but there is also the standard of what is known. Whether you decide to ignore it or go along with it, it's your business. Meaning, if you look at the history of Africa, where I have been, it's a shame because they say life on earth, on this planet, started in this place of our great people, the Africans. But thousands and thousands of years after, we are left behind. We are trying to catch up with others. So we therefore must try to understand, even now, currently, the state of affairs. Why is Africa perpetually poor? Why? And yet we have some people you can refer to as great leaders. Great in as far as everything is concerned. Maybe, but sometimes except what are we doing with and for our people, given the responsibility we have over them? Why do we get diverted and sometimes we have everything we need, but the millions of others can go without anything? And yet at the end of every term we go to them asking them to put us back in positions of responsibility. So, but these Africans are very innocent people. They will go to somebody who has brought suffering to them and vote him again into power. So I don't know if it is being innocent or something else, but and then the story keeps going. You know, our people, we are okay. But at the end of the day, these poor people who we invite to come to rallies, and they've really had no meal the previous day, even that day. Sometimes you feed them there because you want their vote. You are able to give them food on the rallies, but that is the last they will see until you come back after so many years looking. But I'm not inventing anything. I'm just talking about what I know there is. So if we knew this reality and wanted to deal with it, I mean, we may not deal with it and get it finished in a short time. But why not be on the journey to dealing with that? So if you are going to travel a long journey, 100 kilometers, you start with 1, you are 2, 3, 10, 20, you are going. You don't just jump from the start to finish. So, but at least you must be seen on the journey that you are going somewhere. You can't keep starting and staying with the starting. You can't, somebody must see you going to the destination. So that's the problem we have on our continent, unfortunately, referring to the question you asked. And I have nobody else to blame except ourselves, the leaders. You can't really blame anybody else. It's we that must be blamed. As I sit here, you blame me as much as you want. I'll take it calmly and go knowing that, yes, maybe what people are saying is right. So, but there is no other way to go about it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. We'll take one more question before we go on a 15-minute break.
The one you had asked, you had already pointed at somebody.
Yeah, no, it's not here in the room. He sent a question in from Nairobi. It'll appear on the screen.
Okay.
The question is from Malcolm Webb of Al Jazeera. He's asking, protesters in DR Congo are demonstrating this week against the visit of French President Emmanuel Macron, who they blame for supporting Rwanda and thus enabling Rwandan meddling in Congo through M23. What is your response to the protesters? And does Macron's visit to DR Congo threaten Rwanda's interest or your special relationship with President Macron?
After answering it, I hope someday he may tell me where he stands himself, the one who asked the question. Because, again, journalists shouldn't just be asking questions. They must be thinking about what they're asking. And to begin with, I would tell the protesters that it's unfortunate they may not be fully understanding what they are protesting about. They shouldn't be protesting about the visit, because the visit is not the problem, it's not the cause of the problem. So why would you? And then meddling Rwanda and meddling in the Congo is not the problem either. So if you demonstrate about Rwanda meddling in Congo's affairs, you are still meddling, you are still protesting against a wrong problem. If you are protesting against the M23, you are really not, your protest is a waste of your time and isn't going to address your problem, because it is not the problem. So my response to the protesters, therefore, would be, I would protest against my government, my leaders. Those protesters, if I had a way of talking to them directly, I said, you're protesting for the wrong things. Start with your president, your government. Those are the ones mismanaging, mishandling your problems. That is my answer to... I thought Malcolm Webb would be understanding that. I still hope he understands that. On the Macron's visit to DR Congo, I know I see no threat or any problem at all. I think maybe he's doing it because he wants to be helpful, by way of advice, by way of supporting, by way supporting the peace that is needed in our region, in Congo, I'm sure France or President Macron has something to offer in that regard. So if he is doing that, why would I feel any discomfort at all? So, two things. One, the protesters, the very good people of Congo protesting, are protesting. Their protest is extremely and very well misguided. They need to take it somewhere else or to be doing something else that they should be doing.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a 15-minute break and resume after that.
All right.